Hello gorgeous, welcome back to Life and Style. Today's video is going to be my weekly plan with me, but this is going to be the first week in the 6-week series that I had talked about regarding Game of Thrones. I was going to plan in my Erin Condren, but then I thought I did a complete Game of Thrones setup. I actually put the video up earlier today in my TN, the one that I take with me, so I decided to use the inserts in this TN since it is Game of Thrones inspired, and I take this with me. I'd like to see the weekly kits from Game of Thrones. So we are going to be working with weekly inserts, printables from JeseniaPrintables, who is on Etsy. I will link her down below. I also will link the video for this TN setup in case you're interested in seeing that, and you know, didn't get the alert or whatever. I'll go ahead and link that down below. So I will put the Traveler's Notebook aside and we will get the inserts ready. I am going to zoom you in at this point because these inserts are much smaller than the Erin Condren. And the kit that I am using for the first week is from Sugary Gal Shop. This is absolutely gorgeous. The colors are beautiful. Her art is very, very beautiful. This is how, you know, this is her art, even though it's obviously Game of Thrones. This is her hand-drawn, basically, rendition of it, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. So you've got your full boxes there. You've got your Today headers, Little Thing headers, glitter headers there, and then 3 heart checklist boxes, which I can appreciate because I don't tend to use the larger ones, like the full boxes, very rarely. Then you have 6 half boxes, which are rounded off but very lightly. They're not a heavy round, if that makes sense. I don't know if you could see that, which I appreciate because I personally like straight edge better than rounded off. I mean, if you could say these are straight edge because the curve is so small. So you get 6 of those with some of the artwork watermarked on them. Then you get 6 builders, which I can appreciate that as well. You also get 6 checklist boxes, so these are full boxes, and as you can see, you just have the big circles, and then you can write in what you'd like. You have your Sidebar Weekly, which has dragon scales on it, very cool. You have 4 habit trackers and then some little things, or really they are like television tabs. So I think that that makes sense if you're putting in, like, you know, whenever the Game of Thrones comes on, these are basically little things, but they're all television based. And then this is the bottom washi page. I will only be using this one, especially because I'm planning in a B6 insert. Usually I like to use these both if I'm using the Erin Condren because there is space, but there won't be in this, which is fine. I can always use this. I think this is very universal. It doesn't necessarily have to just go with a Game of Thrones kit. You have your Hello Weekend banner. Then you also have your date covers, which is gorgeous. I do have date dots and other things that I have pulled in to kind of pull this spread together. And then you've got a couple of different word and also icons for functional stuff, so cleaning, dinner plans, things like that. So that is going to be the entire kit. You know, like I said, I had to bring in some things because, like, I don't have my like the small boxes that I use up top for like my work stickers and things like that, but this kit in and of itself is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm gonna go ahead and what I did, this is an old weekly kit, not weekly kit, sorry, weekly insert, but I just, you know, keep printing them out and using them because I do tend to get the new ones, and I'm just gonna get you in here a little closer. I do tend to get the updated ones as she comes out with them. She usually does them 2 months at a time. I haven't seen, like, I have March, April, but I wanted to start a new insert so that the 6 weeks can span the insert. The other one was like halfway through. But the May, June, right? March, April, yeah, May, June has not come out yet as far as I know. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and wipe this out, and what I'm going to do is definitely just talk you through it because, like I said, what I want to do for these 6 weeks is basically talk about the episode that just happened, and then you know, talk about any theories or what happened and that sort of thing. So a lot happened in the first episode, and obviously, and I will put that at the beginning, you know, a disclaimer in the title, there are going to be absolute spoilers because we're going to be talking about the episode. So if you have not watched the episode, do not watch this video. Watch it after you've watched the episode. I have friends who've already watched it a number of times, but me, I don't know, I can't necessarily go back and watch episodes more than once. It's very rare that I can do that. One of the episodes that I do that with, though, is the Battle of the Bastards. It is one of my favorite episodes. I think there's so much happening. The battle itself is absolutely epic. Their rescue by the Veil is one of my favorite scenes, because, you know, even if in the back of your mind you're thinking something's got to happen, when you hear that horn and you see them just riding in with their flag. I don't know how long you've been out of focus here, pissing me off. I think probably because this is white too. You know, the paper's very, very white. You know, once you hear that horn from the Veil and see that flag, it is just like sheer joy. I was screaming of happiness, just like amazing. And every time I watch it, it almost still feels like the first time, like I haven't watched it before. So as you can see, I just whited out the days of the week and then the entire sidebar here. What I'm using for that is my Tombow Mono Correction tape, which is what I normally use. And again, excuse my nails, they're just shit right now and they're gonna stay shit for a bit. I'm gonna be doing a lot of cleaning this week because my best friend started a business recently selling Swarovski jewelry, and I told her I'd have her first party and I want to support her and all that stuff. So I'm gonna be cleaning almost all week, a little bit here, a little bit there, because I am still working. So it's just gonna be a full week of cleaning. I mean, right now it's 9:35 at night. I usually never film this late. Okay, so I'm gonna put these day covers down, which I think are very, very cool. I just want to see how far they go across in case I have to really center them, you know what I mean? Yes, I am a perfectionist, and yes, I like things certain ways. I want to look at my spread and just be like, oh, it's beautiful. And these are really nice because they're scalloped up top, which is kind of cool because they can look like dragon scales or whatever. So, all right, so first of all, let's talk about the opening. The opening was amazeballs because it's completely changed, like completely. I mean, you still see the places, but there was so much going on. You know, the ground was turning into ice. You saw all these other different layers and just, you know, every couple seconds, I was at my sister's house, every couple seconds, we all were like, oh, wow, yeah. You know, I mean, we were really just impressed that they did that. And, you know, we all pretty much wondered out loud if the final episode is going to have a completely different opening after so much, you know, I'm sure is going to happen. So the show opens up with a little boy running, and you can tell he's in Winterfell because it is winter, snow on the ground. And then you see a procession of Unsullied, which means that Dany and Jon have finally arrived at King's Landing. Not King's Landing, I'm sorry, Winterfell. And how long that trip takes, I have absolutely no idea. I can only, like, my theory is that Jon has probably been gone for about a year or so. It doesn't feel that way, but I hardly think that he'd be falling in love with Daenerys in like 6 weeks. And I remember at some point that Sansa had made mention that she hadn't heard from Jon in months. So of course it takes time to get to Dragonstone and then to get back there. And then they went to King's Landing with the White Walker or the dead or whatever. And so, you know, they had to do all that. So for date dots today, I'm going to be using this gorgeous foiled date hearts from my newest addiction. These are in silver, and silver absolutely has to be used with this kit because of the blue and the wintry type of thing. So we're going to be doing the 15th, which is today. And then we'll roll through these date dots. Yeah, so they get to Winterfell. Everyone's face is like, who the F is this chick? And what the F is she doing here with all of these soldiers? And, you know, this procession and blah, blah, this. And you could tell in their face, they're like, who the F is this girl? Like, what's she doing up in here? And, you know, her and Jon are riding high and tall on their horses, as is Jorah Mormont, as is Missandei and Grey Worm. they were being looked at with such disgust and such disdain. And the nice thing about it is that you saw Aria looking to see who the hell was coming through. And she sees John and her face just changes. And then she sees the Hound who is riding on a horse and her face just changes. And then she sees Gendry and her face, you know, it's just like she keeps seeing all of these people from her past, almost as if they were like from past lives, if you will. And, but she didn't say anything. She didn't shout out or anything like that. She just stayed quiet and kind of, you know, looked at the procession go by and that sort of thing. And, so that happened, you know, they got into Winterfell, and not before, you know, everybody's looking at her all funky, and then John was like, you know, I told you that the Northerners do not like outsiders, they're not going to accept a Southern ruler, you know, this sort of thing. All of a sudden, you hear the roar of the dragons, and everybody's like, ah, running everywhere and stuff like that, and this one is a little crooked. I think I put the date cover down a little too much, so I'm gonna see if I can't lift this. If I can lift, nope, can't lift it. I already hear the paper ripping. That's fine, no big deal. And she just kind of smirks, and everybody's like, holy shit, dragons, because those people in their lifetime, and probably the people before them, I mean, dragons haven't been seen, if I'm not mistaken, for thousands of years. You know, so the dragons fly in, Sansa sees them, and they walk in, and Sansa, you know, he sees Bran, and then he's like, look at you, you're a man, and he's like, almost, you know, with his little emo look, and John figures something is going on, because his eyes look, you know, they always look empty, you know, and I think it's hard in that way to kind of, this is the way you have to act all the time. Extremely stoic, extremely just like, nothing bothers me because I'm who I am. And he does such an amazing job, that actor. And so, you know, John just kind of looks at him weird. And, you know, he hugs Sansa and he's like, where's Arya? And she's like, somewhere around here. And so, you know, he introduces Daenerys to Sansa, and she's like, you know, thank you for welcoming us, and your lands, or Winterfell, is as beautiful as your brother has mentioned, and or has said, and so are you. And she just kind of looked at her with this. She gave her this little coy bitch look, you know, Sansa did, and I'm like, you go, girl. And because Sansa is my favorite character, she grew on me, because at the beginning she was a piece of shit, spoiled brat, little crapper. To me, she has had the biggest growth. I think she has learned a lot. I think she has been humbled beyond being humbled, and you know, I think she's taken that, you know, and is learning. So, so then she tells, you know, she says, thank you, you know, for putting us up and whatever. And she just kind of looks at her and she's like, Winterfell is yours, my grace, you know. And then, so they go through that, and he sees Arya at some point he's under the tree where his dad always kind of went to think, you know, that big tree under, at Winterfell. And so I'm not going to be able to, oh, well, yeah. Shit, I should have put that there. I didn't even think about that. That's okay. I think I'm going to put Ghost there. I like him. And Miss Sandy has to go. I love her. Cersei, you're a bitch. You're staying out. Poor Cersei. No, Cersei is literally a hound from hell. I hate her so much. She is such a horrendous, just a horrible, horrible person, which we'll get into. So anyway, John is under the tree, and Arya goes, and she's like, you used to be taller. And he's like, look at you, you know, you've grown so much. And they hugged, and you know, it was so heartfelt. It was so amazing to see that reunion. It was one of the ones that people really were looking forward to. And you know, so they talked and stuff, and he's like, you still have it, you know, Needle, the sword that he made for her. And she's like, yes, I still do. And he's like, have you used it? And, you know, everybody, of course, watching is like, ha ha, if you only knew. And she's like, once or twice, you know, not really saying anything. And he shows her long claw, and she's like, it's too heavy for me. But anyway, they hug, and she's like, I forget what she says to him, but he says something about Sansa, and she's like, you know, she's the smartest person I know. And he's like, you're sticking up for Sansa? And she's like, I'm sticking up for my family, and don't forget that, you know, we're your family too, and all that. So that was said to him so many times throughout the first episode, not only by Arya, but by Sansa as well, that don't forget, you know, your family and whatever. And you know, his face was always like, yikes, you know, like he knew that was going to happen. And then, so they're in the big room where everybody kind of meets, and they're sitting at the table, and Sansa asks one of the little lords, I mean, basically he's a kid, and she asks one of the lords, you know, where are your people? And he's like, you know, we need more horses and carts and stuff. So she says, okay, whatever you need, you know, just go, we'll give you whatever you need, and that sort of thing. Excuse me. So what I'm going to be doing is, over the glitter headers, because I really want them to pop, I'm going to finish up, or almost finish up, this, actually I think I'm not going to be able to, there's only 6 of them, but that's okay, these overlays for the glitter headers. So, and they are, oh god, what do you call them? I'm completely brain farting right now. Hollow. They're hollow. So, so I think what I'll do is I'll do every other one, because then just like one is not going to have it. It's going to look weird. So we'll do every other one. And so he goes, yes, my lady. And then he looks at John. He's like, yes, my lord. And then he looks at Dan. He's like, yes, my grace. Like, he's like, sorry. So she sends him on his way. She's like, oh, you know, take what you need. We'll spare what we can spare. Go get your, you know, your people and have them come here. And actually what I'm going to do is on the weekend, since they're right next to each other, I will use too. And so that happens. And then, you know, Lyanna Mormont, oof, that's my girl. I knew she was going to have a freaking issue like crazy. Sorry about that. That was my mom calling. My son's on spring vacation, so she's watching him. All right, so where were we? Damn it, I forgot where we were. Shit. So John gets reminded about family. So, okay, so one of the big things that happened was that John rode a dragon. So Rhaegal, who's named after Rhaegar, her brother, his father, which he doesn't know at this time, this happened pretty quickly, because what's happening is that the dragons aren't really eating. They don't like the cold weather, you know. They've always been in the south, really. And so she gets on Drogon to ride him, and Rhaegal kind of just looks at John, and he's like, she's like, gone. And he's like, what? So he gets on, and it's really funny because he's having a tough time with it. But he gets the hang of it very, very, very quickly. So we were whooping it up when we saw that, because we knew that he was going to end up riding a dragon, him being a Targaryen, but not knowing it. So anyway, so they end up in a, like near a waterfall, and she's like, wow, you know, so they start kissing and stuff, and Drogon is freaking giving him the evil eye. I was dying. So I was like, oh, hell no. And she's like, don't be afraid of them, because they kind of started like growling a little bit. And she's like, no, no, don't be afraid of them. So he kisses her, but he's looking like he's facing them. So all of a sudden you see one eye open, and Drogon is just like, watch yourself, bitch. It was the funniest thing ever. So, you know, the memes too are aplenty today, like so good. So anyway, so that happened, and then they, oh yeah. So what I was talking about was they were in that big room, and then Lyanna Mormont comes out and is like, you know, we declared you king in the north, you leave, and all of a sudden you come home with no title. And he's like, you know, I was given the option. So he said that he was, you know, given a choice, and he chose to protect Winterfell. And that's the reason why he bent the knee. So Liana was like, look, man, you know, you could tell in her face that she was pissed as hell. So anyway, somebody said, I forget who stands up. Oh. So Tyrion stands up and he goes, you know, if we win this, you have Jon Snow to thank for it. You know, he came to us not knowing what the situation was going to be, but still took the chance. And, you know, he really cares about his home and this, that, and the other. And we've brought 2 full dragons and all this and all that. And then all of a sudden, Sansa's like, well, or you know, he was talking about like the best army in the world, the 2 full-grown dragons. And she's like, all well and good, but I know that we have food for a year with the people we have. I didn't count on the best army in the world and, you know, this, that, and the other, and 2 full-grown dragons. She goes, what do dragons eat anyway? And all of a sudden, Dany's just looking forward, and she just hit bitch mode. She's like, whatever they want. And Sansa just looked at her, and I was like, oh, shit, here we go. So, you know, that in and of itself, she, you know, she really started with the fuck up there. You know, and then like at another point, her and, how am I going to do this? I'm going to put this up there. I'll do this down here. I got to pick something to hit up there. And so, you know, when they were walking down, her and Jon, and she's like, oh, your sister doesn't like me. And he's like, she doesn't know you. And he's like, but she said, but if she can't respect me, you know, like, and I'm like, okay, what's she getting at? You know what I mean? So at that point, kind of, I was like, somebody's turning into the villain here, because that ain't cool. You know what I mean? So let's see. So we have, which is unfortunate, we don't have any quarter boxes or anything like that, or washi strips, which I really, really like to use. So all right. And so so you know, that turned into that situation. So tomorrow, I know I want to upload this video. It's not going to go up tonight, like I said. It's going to be like 10 o'clock. So I'm going to use I'll use this one down here, and that will be to upload this tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, what I'm going to do is I am going to film the makeup look, also talking about this. I said I was going to do both. And so, you know, she already was hitting like bitch mode, and I'm like, look, man, don't do it. Don't do it. And so Jon goes in to talk to Sansa, and she's like, did you bend the knee because you were thinking about us, or because you're in love with her? And so he was like, you know, his face kind of changed, and somebody came in. Also, Tyrion talked to Sansa, and he's like, you know, look at you. And he's like, the last time I saw you was at Joffrey's wedding. And she's like, yeah, you know, sorry that I kind of, you know, left that way. And he's like, yeah, that was kind of hard that you ran away like that. But she was very, not necessarily cold to him, but just like, whatever, like, I'm not even dealing with you right now. I am going to be working all week. Ah, shit, you know what? Friday I have the day off. Can I lift this? This is what I get for talking too much. Friday is a day off, so I'm gonna get I do have undo, but I just think for one sticker, I'm just like, no. Even if I don't get it, yeah, I don't care that I rip it off. I mean, it sucks that I do, but I will, I have another quarter box, so I'll just kind of put this over. It is Good Friday, and our office is closed. So I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be cleaning up for that jewelry party on Saturday. But I do have the day off, so I'm going to make sure I put that down. All right, let's see. Where's the quarter box? It's kind of hard to like be really, really yakking and yakking and planning at the same time, but I'm trying. Okay, so at one point too, I don't know where they were talking. Maybe it was in the big room, and people were like talking over, and Brandon's like, we don't have time for this baloney. Like, you know, they're on their way. They've broken through the wall and all this. And so the people at Winterfell already know that they broke through the wall, and Tormund and Beric and a couple of others, they did survive, which was really good. And so I'm assuming that they're on their way to Winterfell to help with the battle. And so that was good, because I was like, they better not have killed my Ginger, because I absolutely adore him. Like, he's so, so awesome. So what I want to do for Friday is actually do like a list. So I'm going to use the little things here. And Arya went and talked with the Hound. He was busting Gendry's balls about something, and she's like, leave him be. And all of a sudden he turns around, he's like, you left me to die. And she's like, I robbed you first. I was like, you know what? Ya's a mess. I was like, yes, Arya. And he's like, you're a cold little bitch, aren't you? He goes, I guess that's why you survived. You're still alive. And he kind of just walked away. But you know, he was like happy to see her. You know what I mean? That during their journey together, I mean, they were together for a long time. I mean, you know, he was with her when she witnessed the Red Wedding and, you know, took her out of there. But he did the thing of taking her to her mom before the Red Wedding happened, you know what I mean? But he did get close to her, and I think they have mutual respect for each other. And so that was a pretty cool scene. And she talked to Gendry, and she asked him to make something, you know, weird, and I don't even know what it is. It's almost like a container for a knife, for her knife. I don't know, but you know, they kind of had a little bit of banter back and forth, which was very cute. And so you know, that happened, and I was like, yes, let's do this. All right, so season 8, episode 2. I forgot to use this last week, but this is from my newest addiction. It's called Thrones, y'all. So you have some thrones down here, and then as you can see, the dates there. So season 8, episode 2 is going down here for next Sunday. It just, like I said, so much happened. Jorah and Dany went into, I guess, what would be considered the library, and Sam was there, and you know, he's like, oh, you know, my grace and whatever, and then he's like, you know, something about Tarly, and she's like, Randall Tarly, because if you remember, she burned his father and his brother, and he said, yes, you know him, and she's like, and she was honest. She said, I, you know, offered him the ability to bend the knee, and he refused. And you know, they kind of looked at each other. Her and Jorah's eyes got so big. It was kind of funny, even though it really wasn't. But she was very honest with him. Wednesday, I do want to do an Instagram post, because I need to get on that. I need to get better at that. And so it was, you know, it was sad, because you could, you know, his lips started quivering and he started tearing up, and I'm like, but he treated you like shit. But, you know, it's like, this is Sam. Sam's very emotional, and, you know, he didn't want to be sent away to the wall. So he's like, well, he goes, I'm sure I can go home now. My brother wouldn't give me an issue. And she's like, he stood with your father. And he's like, you know, he really kind of started crying, and he's like, can I just, you know, go? And she's like, yes, of course. And so he goes outside, he sees Bran, and he's like, Bran, what are you doing out here? And he said, waiting for an old friend. Now, I already knew who that was when he said it, but I was like, yes, this is gonna be good. And so, I'm trying to think of what else I have here. So my mother's gonna have my son. Actually, she's going to stay with him the rest of the week, which is awesome, because I can come home, quickly film. Also, I've got to shampoo my rug before people come over my house. So I guess we're just going to be doing half boxes, because I don't know how I would use, well, let me see. Yeah, I don't know how I would use that. Alright, I'm going to use a Stark Direwolf. And so he goes out to Bran, and Bran says, I'm waiting for an old friend. And then he said, it's time, you need to tell him. He's like, wait, why do I have to tell him? He goes, you're his brother. And he's like, he's very close to you and he trusts you. This is Bran telling Sam this. And Sam's like, son of a bitch. So Jon is down in the crypt, and literally Sam he falls into the crypt, which was, it wasn't, you know, obviously, but it was kind of funny. Do I have a vacuum here? I don't think I do. This is a sheet by White Deer Stationery, so I hardly use these, and I really, really like them. So I'm like, okay, you need to use them. But you know what? There's a house here, so I think I'll use that. And I'll use this blue one. And so I'll know that that's to shampoo the carpet. And so he literally falls into the crypt, and he's like, did you know that Daenerys, you know, killed my father, my brother? And he's like, no. And he's like, I've killed men or that disobeyed. He said, but you've also shown mercy. And so he, you know, he kind of like looked like, you know, he was upset about it. Jon was. And so Sam was like, something about a king, I forget what he said. And he's like, I'm not the king of the North anymore. He goes, no. He goes, king of the bloody 7 kingdoms. He's like, what are you talking about? And Sam goes on and tells him, he goes, your real mother is Lyanna Stark, and your real father is Rhaegar Targaryen. He said, you know, Ned is not your father. And he's like, why would Ned have lied to me? And he said, because Robert would have killed you if he knew who you really were. And so your mother made him promise to protect you, and so he did. And you could tell that Jon believed him. He wasn't like looking at him, you know, incredulously or anything. He took it for what he was telling him, and again, he believed him. So I was like, go ahead with your bad self. And so he told him, you know, everything, and he's like, but Daenerys is queen. And then Sam said, but well, she shouldn't be. You're the rightful heir to the throne because you are Rhaegar Targaryen's son. Rhaegar was the next in line, and you're his heir. And, you know, Jon kind of, he really didn't say much, but he kind of looked like, no, I can't really do that. But, you know, you could tell in his face that he believed him, and that he was like, holy shit, this adds a whole layer of problems. And, you know, I'm looking at his face, and I don't know if he realized, like, I'm like, dude, that's your aunt. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he really realized that or not. And so that happened, and then at the end, Bran is sitting where Sam had seen him and left him. And you see a gentleman or a man coming in on horse, you know, riding in horse. But his cloak was really pulled over his face, and I knew it. I was like, that's got to be Jaime. And I knew, even when Bran said it, that that's who he was waiting for. And so, you know, Jaime comes in, he takes his hood off, he goes inside, he turns around, and there's Bran. Or maybe I think he was already there. I don't think he went inside, I think he was already there. And he took the hood off, he just kind of turns around, he sees Bran sitting, and Bran gives him that look like, bitch, I knew you were gonna come back here. Jaime's face fell so quickly, like I couldn't even, it was like boom, from 1 second to the next. Like he turns around like, okay, I'm here, and then all of a sudden he's like, holy shit, that's Brandon Stark. Yes it is. Yes it is. And that was the final scene. That's where it ended. And then for the previews for next week, you see Jaime standing in front of Daenerys, and Daenerys saying, you know, my brother used to tell me all the time about stories about how you killed our father and this, that, and the other. And, you know, you could tell that he is like, like, they're going to tear my ass up. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I will tell you why in a moment. But the other thing is, you could tell that they're getting ready for the battle. And it's dark And, you know, like somebody said, how much time do we have? And he said, you know, before the sun comes up or by this time the sun comes up, something like that. But everybody's getting ready for battle because the 3rd episode is the battle at Winterfell. So that's going to be probably the parting shot would be them waiting for the White Walkers and stuff. And I'm already thinking that perhaps the last sound we're going to hear before it fades to black is Viserion's roar. So that's what I'm thinking, because I think that that's usually the way they do things, but we shall see. We shall see. So on Sunday, I'm going to use, oh, and I didn't talk about these earlier. This is from Paper Blush Bar. This is basically just a sheet of like bow checklists, and I love these. I've really gotten used to using these because I can just write on the paper. So I just, you know, they've got 3 and then 6. So you just put this wherever you want, whether it's directly on the paper or on a box or something, but I'm just going to put it directly on to the paper because I'm going to have stuff to do. Cleaning time, just because I have to, you know, just make sure everything's dusted and everything looks good. I will probably clean the guest bathroom on Saturday, so it could be like spotless clean, and everything else will be clean the night before, but then I'll just go over everything and make sure everything is presentable and all that good stuff before the party. And I'm trying to see if I have anything for party time. Oh yeah, I do. I have, I'll make sure that's it. Yep, so I have these balloons, and again, this is the sheet from White Deer Stationery. I will link everything down below, as I usually do. So there's that. I'm happy to be using these too, because as you can see, I haven't used a lot, and I've had these sheets for a very long time. So I have this Simply Gilded washi, which is a very icy washi, very icy blue, white, and then the silver foiled bows. I can speak. So I'm going to be using this on the sidebar, but it's going to be a little difficult because I don't have like the headers and stuff. You know, a complete kit for me would be having dinners this week, next week, important, remember, something like that. I mean, I think that that's pretty basic. Okay, so shit. I guess I can't be fancy then. I do have headers, but they are so... So let me go get those and we'll use those. So I was able to find some headers that I had in my collection. These are from Polished Patterns, and these are basically neutral classic headers. As you can see, they're all dinner and just a classic font, nothing fancy, but they fit the bill and do the job. And then these are from Coffee Brain Plans. These are also neutral headers, but as you can see, the font on this, even though it's not like a script, like, you know, to the side or anything like that, it's still a little fancier. But I like these as well because it has like, don't forget to buy next week, important and to clean. So I'll definitely be using, I'm going to try to get into next week, and then important and don't forget probably for like the habit tracker on the sidebar. So we're going to do like I normally do. I'm going to go ahead and put down some washi, and like I said, this is one from Simply Gilded. I just wanted something very icy and blue, and this was perfect. So let me just grab a pair of scissors here because I want to cut the washi just to start at an even point, and we're not starting like mid bow or anything like that. So just want to get that as straight as I can get it and work with that. So just put that there, and we'll do my tweezers here, maybe. But I think this iciness is really, really nice. So yeah, everybody's cold, everybody's complaining about, you know, being cold because Winterfell is just, but they're used to it, you know. Well, I shouldn't say they're used to it. Excuse me, the kids, Sansa and Rob and, you know, Arya, Rickon, Bran, and Jon, they have never actually been through a winter. So they're what, you know, what they call summer children. They've never experienced winter in Winterfell, which is quite brutal. You know, it really, really is. So now they're experiencing it, but everybody there is like, damn it, I hate to be cold and all this shit. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting situation with everybody there. I think what I want to do is use... Yeah, let's do the darker one. And so, like I said, you know, they showed the previews for next week, which then we're going to have the big battle at Winterfell, so that should be quite interesting, to say the very least. And what I'm thinking about, you know what? I just realized that I probably have said "and" about 1,000 times, so I beg your pardon. Again, it's a little hard to like talk and not necessarily talk about the plan that I'm doing, it's just kind of doing it, so it's just a little odd. So let's put down some more washi here. My predictions are changing a little bit. I'm like, my sister and I talk about this show all the time, and she has a couple of theories and predictions for things that are, you know, may happen, and I'm starting to believe it. She had said that once Dany finds out that Jon is the true heir to the Iron Throne, that, you know, and it's true, that I agree with. Dany has been trying for this throne for what seems like forever. And I think she's of the mind now that nothing is going to stop her. I think that that idea has been put into her head for such a long time that she, you know, if you've seen it from the beginning, she wasn't what she is now, and she's grown tremendously. Tougher, stronger, more outspoken, more sure of herself, more confident. And I think that she's done this for so long that this is what now she's dealing with, you know, is that she wants this throne and she feels that she deserves it, and she's been through enough, and she's been through a lot. And my sister believes that she is going to, you know, fight Jon for it. She's not going to sit there and go, great, you're my nephew. First of all, let's stop porking. You're my nephew, and that's fantastic, and this throne is yours, and it's great, and I'm going to support you. And my sister doesn't believe that's going to happen. And after yesterday, seeing how she, you know, was basically portrayed, I can't believe that. I can't believe it. I mean, she's already being made out to be almost the villain here, even in the first episode, because again, and I understand that people in the North, they don't like, you know, they don't like strangers. They're not going to accept the Southern rulers, Jon had said. But it was, you know, pretty brutal, where people were just like, who the hell does this chick think she is? I don't give a crap if she does have dragons. And so I think that's going to set the stage for a lot of what we're going to see this season. I mean, you know, Game of Thrones never does anything, I don't want to say gratuitously, but Game of Thrones is a show that you really have to pay a lot of attention to the conversations, to what people say, to sometimes things that you see and what they may mean. And it's just, that's the way it is. That's the way the show is. It will bring something up that hasn't been seen, you know, for forever, but you're going to see it today. And all of a sudden you're just like, damn, now that conversation makes sense. Or, you know, that image made sense. And that's the way it is. So for me, and I said it, you know, a couple of times, for me, so many people reminded Jon about his family, not to forget the family. Make sure you're loyal to the family. That I really think that's going to be an issue. And he's going to have to make a decision as to whether or not he is going to stand by Daenerys or if he's going to stand by his family. Already I can see, you know, Sansa's already like, let me tell you something, bitch, this is my home. You know, I mean, you know, and I think Sansa, you know, feels the right of it because she's also been through a lot. I mean, her and Daenerys really kind of have, you know, kind of the same things happening to them. I mean, how many times was Sansa married off? Daenerys was married off, and although she fell in love with Khal Drogo, which I think was, you know, I know all the rest of the stuff, but I thought it was a beautiful relationship. I mean, she really did love him. And they've seen, I think they've experienced a lot of the same things, and I think they both feel which they should, more confident, you know, more ready to say what they think. You know, the thing about that is that Dani has her dragons. Sansa has been taught the ways by two of the most conniving people in Westeros, which is, which are Cersei and Littlefinger. Was Littlefinger. And I think we're going to see a lot from her this season. I really, really do. I really do think that we're going to see a lot from her. So what do I want to do? All right, so I'm filming today, which is Monday. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use one of these to put that down, just to have it there, you know. And so I'll use the camera. Just a little thing there, and then I'll put down film. I also cleaned today, so I'm going to grab the spray bottle. And I'm actually doing laundry now. I don't know if you can hear the dryer. It is going haywire. And I'll use the laundry one. And actually, let me shut that down because that is getting a little loud. Okay, that's better. So I feel that, you know, unfortunately, I believe Dani's going to die. I believe that she's not going to survive this. I think she's going to turn into a Mad Queen as her father had become the Mad King. Again, I think that she wants this throne so badly that it's just been constantly put into her head. And she's going to stick with that. And, you know, this is her throne and no one's going to take that away from her, which is unfortunate. You know, because it's unfortunate. So, all right, so what did I say I was going to do? So Wednesday I'm going to do the makeup look, so I am going to film that day. Let me grab the kit again. I'm going to grab these half boxes. You know, and also, too, I'm a little off kilter because the kit, and I don't know if it was the only one available or if I bought a shortened version. I don't recall, and I can't say, but not having quarter boxes and stuff, really, you know, because I'm used to having my little quarter boxes, and it just, I'm very thrown off. So you can probably hear the hesitation in my voice because honestly, I feel lost without a full kit. So, what did I say I was going to do? I was going to film. So I'm going to do the makeup look that day. I was able to purchase the Urban Decay Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette. Everything else is sold out right now. So I'm going to wait till it comes to Ulta and buy it. So that look with that palette is not going to be done for a few weeks, but I do have other makeup that is Game of Thrones inspired, especially the collection by Wet n Wild. I bought the whole box. And so I have that. So that will be the first look that I do on Wednesday. Maybe something icy in blue, we'll see, but that's what's going on up there. And then what I'm gonna do is, actually I'm off Friday, as I said, so I'm gonna upload that makeup video and get her done on Friday. Might as well. I'll be home all day, so I can upload the makeup video that day. Get that up. So if you're into both makeup and planning, you're gonna hear the same thing pretty much there. But the reason why I'm doing that is because if you're only into one or the other, obviously I'm not gonna not talk about something, you know what I mean, and only talk about it another day. So I do need to do groceries. See, the thing is that I don't know if I want to go out Friday. It sucks. But maybe I'll do it Thursday. Maybe I'll do it Thursday. Yeah, I'll do it Thursday. One of the things I like to do, even if I'm just home later, is like if I've got a day off, like I've got Friday, I don't want to plan to actually get dressed and go out. I know it's a little odd. These two I have talked about before. These are from Beyond Paper Flowers, and all of these are laundry, work, and groceries, and I just think that the font is so beautiful and fancy. It's not foiled, and there's no problem with that. I love these. I really, really like these a lot. again, it's simple, but it's not, I mean, I think it's beautiful. So we've got that for groceries down there. And Friday, I've got the day off. I'm going to do a couple things, and I'm going to upload Wednesday Instagram post and film. That's enough for that day because I am working pretty much a full day. So what I'm going to do, though, because my mom has him Tuesday night and Wednesday night, I'm going in first thing in the morning Wednesday, like 6:30, 6 or 6:30, so I can leave early. And I'm going to do the same thing for Thursday because then I have to pick him up. And that way I can do groceries early on. So I think we're good with that. Let me go ahead and write in the way I usually do off camera just to save some time. And then I'll be back and we can finish up. So I put the inserts back into my traveler's notebook. The spread, I think, came out very, very beautiful. The paper is so soft. It's like a unicorn paper. It's very, very soft. I'm loving the colors as well, especially a lot of these blues and the icy whites and that sort of thing. I wish the kit was more full and had some of the, I think, just the normal elements like quarter boxes and washi strips. Again, I do not remember if this was the kit itself or if I ordered a condensed version of it. Maybe I ordered a condensed version of it knowing that I had quarter boxes, so I can't say, but the kit itself is very beautiful. I think the artwork is so, so gorgeous. I mean, just like the blues in the eyes, the very red in the lips, it really pops. I think it's very, very beautiful. And there is Saturday and Sunday Miss Sandy and Tyrion there. And then I just filled in my don't forget to do some notes and work to do. I also used a little strip of the washi that was in the kit. And there is my sticker for my newest addiction, season 8, episode 2, which is coming up next Sunday. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was, I know, a little different, and like I said, I was kind of thrown off, I think, by needing to really pull in so much to make the kit work. And also because I was just literally talking through, so I'm not necessarily saying, okay, I'm putting this down, I'm putting that down, this is why I'm putting this down, where I do that most of the time. And you guys know, if you watch my videos, my way of doing things. So this probably sounded very garbled and back and forth and just a little disconnected. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully the next 5 weeks will go a lot smoother. I have a gorgeous kit ready for next week, and I have a kit that I bought recently, and that's the 6th one, which means I have a kit for every week for the final season, so I'm pretty excited about that. The one I'm using on the third, for the 3rd episode, is a kit for my newest addiction. I cannot wait to use that. It is gorgeous. It's called The Longest Night, or The Long Night. Beautiful. Can't wait. But that's going to be it for this Plan With Me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my rehash of the episode and some theories that I have for the ones that are coming up. I only have 5 more left, so that is it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so, and also click that little bell so you get alerted as to whenever I upload new content. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!